What's all the commotion?
We've got another holiday to worry about. It seems Thanksgiving Day is upon us. I haven't even finished eating all my Halloween candy.
And there we go. We've all gathered around the table. Hey, welcome, everybody. It's the Trigger Warning Fun Time Show podcast number 19, and we're excited to be here like a dog returneth to its vomit. We're all at the dining room table for this special Thanksgiving edition. I'm Scratch Masterson.
Superfan Ozzy.
Babyface Nelson.
And Burrito Supreme.
And Jack Spade is at a he's out of town at a very important paintball tournament, I hear, so he can't be present.
It's a nice way of saying rehab.
Right. But we are back. The last podcast was back in September, so we got a lot of things that have happened since then that we'll want to talk about. We had Sean Astin on the last podcast.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Right.
AKA JJ's new best friend.
Some of you had Sean Astin.
No big deal or anything like that, but like he kept calling my name out from stage. He is my best friend.
Isn't that crazy? And Superfan Ozzy, I apologize that you weren't able to sit in on that podcast.
That's all right. I get it.
But since then, because we hadn't even seen him in Stranger Things at the time, but he was superhero Bob Newby on Stranger Things.
That's right. And
So
if you
cool.
haven't watched season 2 of Stranger Things, first of all, it's been like a month. What have you been doing with yourself? What's so important?
Right. But just another amazing character added to his arsenal that we weren't aware of until after the podcast.
It's some great callbacks to like other roles of his. I thought they did it so well.
Yeah, it was great. I loved it.
So we can be thankful for our time we spent with Sean
Sean
Astin.
Astin.
Yeah. So let's talk about things that we have done since the last podcast.
Whole lot of silence. Same old, sleeping in my bed, eating.
What a sad existence.
I did learn something new about Britta. Sorry.
Burrito.
I don't think it really matters
I
for
know
her
at this point
anymore.
it doesn't fucking matter. She has a Snuggie for her arms and her legs.
Yeah.
She wears one on
Like I
her
wear
leg.
the normal Snuggie like you're supposed to with the blanket with the sleeves. I put my arms through it, but then when I'm really cold, I have another one and I put my legs through the armholes.
Call those trailer park pajamas.
Were you out partying like really hard last night or something?
Why?
Your eyes are all squinty and watery. And
It's been a really long weekend in general.
Fucking Canadians.
what were you doing?
Superfan Ozzy's eyes are all squinty and gross too.
No, they're
that out
not. No more than normal.
What do you guys
We had
think?
we had some Canadian friends in town, Moondance friends,
Oh.
all the way down from Canada.
Canadian
And-
Bill Maffey?
Yeah.
Yes.
And Barrie. They wanted to see all of the sights that we have to offer, which is the inside of bars.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
like what Rooters,
Yep.
tailgaters,
Yep.
Yeah. They made it almost to like every dive bar in Fargo.
Rick's.
Rick's,
Yep.
Specs.
No, what?
Yeah.
You really did take him on a
Empire,
tour.
Bismarck, of course, the Northern.
Basement
Upstairs or
bar.
downstairs?
Both.
Oh my. I had 2 cats die since the last time we had this. In fact, I'm going to look right at Burrito when I say this. So I opened up the mail yesterday, and I got a letter from our vet that put down our cat Poop Face. And it was signed by everyone there saying, like, sorry for your loss. But it also included 4 pieces of paper. And on these pieces of paper were little ink paw prints from our cat. And it said, like, right, front right, front
Like
left.
what you get a baby.
Yes, exactly.
Aw.
And so now I've got to hide those from my girlfriend because she'll lose it.
And then also frame them and put them somewhere in your house.
I'm thinking Christmas.
Yeah.
If I could ruin Christmas, that would be the way to do it.
And that's exactly
Love
what's
you.
happening.
Watch you cry.
Ball, isn't she?
Yep.
Oh my God.
I'd ball. I was almost bawling when you were just saying it now.
That's what I was trying to. I was trying to make, but it's
My
been a
eyes
heavy
are already
weekend of,
watering,
yeah,
so you can't
drinking.
tell if I'm crying or I'm just tired.
It was so sweet, and then our other cat died in the home at age 20, and so I had to bury that in the backyard myself. Have any of you ever buried an animal before?
I just put a cat down this last year, too.
So it's a sad thing to like bury your own pet,
It is.
and
We put
it's
little
weird.
markers out in the yard that show where our, past pets have been placed.
We
Regular
got,
old pet cemetery.
Pet cemetery.
we had the one that we had put down. We're getting the ashes, and we'll bury that with the other cat, and then Jill's dad is making us like a flagstone marker for it. And my mom, when she owned that house, allowed some friends of hers to bury their like lizard in the backyard. And so it'll be a lizard and 2 cats. And I told Jill, that's it. No more bodies in our backyard.
Right, especially because you don't want any of them coming back all up
Right?
that cemetery either.
Yeah, that was my first thought.
And didn't you bury your cat like in the middle of the night, basically?
Yeah, it was.
And then there was like a kid looking out a window.
It was like 5 a.m. Jill woke me up and she's crying and she goes, it happened. And we kind of knew the night before. And so I went downstairs and I put gloves on because I don't know about science. I don't know if you should be touching a dead animal with your bare skins. And so I picked the cat up thinking like, oh, this must have just happened because the cat's still warm. Well, he was in a heated cat bed, but rigor mortis had set in. So like he was full on stiff. And so I put him in a paper bag because I was like, he needs to be shrouded in something. And
Paper bag, good
I
choice.
dig a hole in my backyard underneath a tree that's in kind of an obscured area, and I'm huffing and puffing because it takes a lot to dig a hole, especially in late October. Like ground is a little hard.
Easy thing. You see some of those movies too, where they got the macabre scene of somebody digging someone up in a graveyard. Think how long that would take.
Yeah, and you're like,
Right?
I'm calling BS on this, So I bury this cat, and I put 2 big heavy stones on it because I don't want my dogs digging it up. And I look up, and there's a little boy in the window next door looking down at me doing this, and I can only imagine what he told his mom.
Or the nightmares that he's
Yeah.
now having.
I should have looked up and pointed at him.
And pointed at
Yeah,
the
and the
hole.
hole.
You're next.
Any major events in your life in the past few months here? Super fan Ozzy?
No, not really. I mean, muddling through, same old, same
Just
old.
muddling through.
Muddling through, Netflixing it, and it was really a long weekend.
It was. I don't really feel like I got a weekend.
Yeah. We always said we were going out so we could hang out with the Canadians, and most of the time they weren't with us.
No.
We are.
We were waiting for them somewhere, and
I'm surprised.
I don't
you
know
didn't
if
do
everyone
nice
else so they were staying somewhere in West Fargo. So they kept going to West Fargo bars, like the town hall. Like that, they were staying like right across from there at a friend's house, and so
I was gonna say there's no hotel right across from the town hall.
Well, there is. You just don't know about it. No, but then they'd be like, "Oh, come here," and we're all like, "No, so far. We don't go to West Fargo bars. So far away from home."
Last bar I was to was Jerry's in Moorhead for the big Punky Boopster reunion.
yeah.
That was awesome.
Right.
Played
That
in a
was fun night.
band.
So I had a chance to get my band back together, which hadn't played together in well over 20 some years. So we played first. We did a little show in July, a punk rock barbecue, and then in August we played at Jerry's in Moorhead, which is just across the North Dakota border in Minnesota. For those of you who aren't from the area, they're listening way out of state or in some other country to this podcast.
Oh, I have been to Jerry's. He's fun, yes.
And it was so much fun. We were able to play all the tunes that we played way back when. We played them just as fast, but it was a lot more difficult because I'm not in my 20s and I'm not on speed anymore. So I don't know how we were able to do it as often as we did it back then.
Hell of a lot of sweating.
The
Right.
speed, probably.
In fact, when I think like in the mid and late 70s, there was a lot of bands in New York that were like into heroin. How did those guys play? All
know.
sluggish. I find it hard to play straight in my 40s.
Any
the jumpsuits were awesome though.
Yeah.
That made the show. I think.
Gave us kind of a Devo-esque
Yes.
vibe.
any
Also made you
plans for
sweaty.
a further reunion tour?
We're talking about maybe playing in the winter sometime. We'll just have to.
So you don't sweat so much
We'll have to see,
in
but
the winter, or what?
keep a window open, right?
There you go.
What about a goose poop reunion? What we really all are waiting for.
Yeah, we do have some warring factions in the Goose Poop community. We haven't played or recorded in a couple of years. A couple of members don't talk to each other really.
Oh, drama.
Different political views that really clash. Isn't it ugly that politics can get in the way of friendship and music like
Yeah,
that?
I don't talk about politics with my friends.
No.
I don't care what you think, and it's none of your business what I think.
You do you, I'll do me.
Right,
Let's
Goose
just
Poop,
have a beer.
The purity of Goose Poop shouldn't be sullied by politics, I
Right.
feel. What?
Right.
In fact, maybe you just need to write a heart-wrenching ballad.
They'll bring us all together. Yeah, maybe so.
That's what they're known for. I mean,
Right.
heart-wrenching
Like
ballads.
your Nell Carter ballad.
Yeah, you love that one.
I
don't
do.
you?
I do love that
Favorite, the
one.
Nell Carter song.
Yep.
No, got a lot of irons in the fire. Art Riot is back. Now I'm an announcer for the North Dakota Apartment Wrestling Federation, which is, it's a thing, man. It is a thing.
Big. In fact, I believe there's a Facebook page for it even.
There is, featuring some of the girls from Valkyries of the Valley, new burlesque troupe in town. Are you guys going to go see them on Sunday? They're going to be at the Northern.
This Sunday or next Sunday?
This upcoming Sunday. Not tonight, but next
Thanksgiving
Sunday.
weekend Sunday.
Right. That'll be their first show. So
Possibly.
Was it Puce Sunday, right? Because it's Black Friday,
Gray Saturday.
Gray Saturday,
you lost me,
Puce
but
Sunday.
you got me back. Brought it back. So we all went and saw Justice League this past week.
Yep.
Really? You give it a full-on? I didn't think it was
Yeah,
half
in
bad.
fact, what was my review to you, JJ?
It's like a wet fart that becomes more than a fart.
Justice League is like a fart that you forced out too hard. It's satisfying at times, and it doesn't last as long as you expect. But in the end, you still shit your pants and are ashamed.
Well, I thought it was I think they brought it back quite a bit. I didn't love the movie, but it was better than Batman versus Superman.
Right. I don't have a strong hatred for it like I do for Batman versus Superman, but I still think there's so many misses.
There's so much more they could have done.
Right.
It just
here's my opinion of it, right? So I went to this with my girlfriend who has not seen any of the other DC movies, and you know what? She was able to follow along just fine, which is mistake number one. If you can just jump into that thing, there's problems. But I said this. So they started doing this, and this is definitely a Joss Whedon thing where he wrote it where it's like Wonder Woman was the reluctant leader, but that doesn't start until 3/4 of the way through the movie. She should have been the one putting the gang together from the get-go. Batman should have been like the holdout, because now he's even more solitary after the events of Batman versus Superman and blaming himself for Superman's death. And so, he was the one trying to resurrect Superman by himself. I think that would have been a much more interesting movie to me, because then they would have been working against Steppenwolf, which is, by the way, some of the worst CGI I have ever seen in a movie.
Britt and I were saying the Steppenwolf was a bad villain, and why don't they go with some already established storylines from the DC universe and use that? Because that guy, he looked like he stepped straight out of a video game.
Yeah.
And not even a good video game.
No, like a video game from like 4 years ago.
Like used an actual actor instead of some CGI creation for that.
And my review of Justice League is this. Do you remember when you were a kid and like you'd hand in a paper and your teacher would call you up and say like, "Is this your best work?" Warner Brothers, is this your best work? Because I wrote "See Me" on a poster as I left the building.
Some missed opportunities too. They've been adding some pop music in, in some classic rock like they've done in past movies, trying to keep up with Marvel. But despite hearing a little bit of White Stripes, which I thought was cool, why didn't they have some Steppenwolf?
Right.
Why didn't
Missed
Steppenwolf come
opportunity.
flying in and they had like
Born to Be Wild,
little girl on a magic carpet?
Why didn't they have Flash eating for the whole thing? That should have been a reoccurring, really funny bit about him having to eat through the whole thing, because they make a whole mention of it, like, I burn calories so fast, and blah, blah. And then you mention it one more time, and it's go to the pantry and Alfred will feed you. By the way, he's treating Alfred still like a full-on servant, and that's ridiculous. If this guy is like the number 2 in your secret army of billionaire superheroes, that dude isn't in charge of getting your guests fucking snacks, okay?
I don't even get, like, Alfred must have been what, like 10 years old when Batman's parents died, because they're not that different in age. Like, ugh.
He's regressing in years, and Batman's aging.
Oh, he's got Benjamin Button disease.
But they do address
I love
Batman's
that that's become a thing. Benjamin Button disease.
when they ask Batman what his superpower is. That's probably one of my favorite lines. I'm rich.
Oh yeah,
I'm rich.
Thank you. You acknowledged it. You have no powers at all.
There's some, there's a lot of cringe-worthy moments, but there were still some moments I laughed at that were intentional laughs. They peppered some good jokes in there, and it moved along at a pretty good clip, so I didn't hate the movie.
So your review is, I laughed a couple of times, and it was pretty short.
It's
worth
no
the money.
Marvel movie. The things I liked about it was when they marveled it up a little bit,
Yeah. I think here's the problem, right? So DC has some of the most complex characters out there, and we're just not given any time with them. Instead, we're given time with things that don't make any sense and are boring. And quite frankly, like when Cyborg is hiding behind the tree at the lake, I wanted, and like she's like, I saw you at the lake. I'm like, well, yeah, no shit. Everyone should have been able to see him out there.
It's a mechanical man.
He's a giant mechanical man with a laser eye.
Standing
And
behind a twig.
He wasn't even like hiding very hard. He was probably breathing.
That looked like a scene that you would shoot in a homemade movie where two people would be talking, and then you pan the camera over, and some guy is standing behind the tree.
Dun, dun, dun.
You shoot that in your backyard.
I've got a bold prediction for this weekend. Do you guys want to hear it?
Let's hear it.
I think that the movie Wonder is going to have a higher per screen average, meaning more people went to it percentage-wise than Justice League.
Yeah.
Because Justice League is not going to make 100 million. It's not going to cap. It's not even going to get close.
And I believe nationwide there's a lot of school groups that went to that Wonder. When we went to go see Justice League, there was 5 buses?
9.
9. There was. I asked them, and there was 950 students that went to that.
Yeah, and then they said the next day that that was like the middle school, and then the high school was coming the next day. So
when I left Justice League, the next screening for it had maybe half full at most, but Wonder completely packed, like sold out.
I think that they should go the way that they went with Thor Ragnarok and give it more of a 70s vibe and just go full-on Super Friends with the next installment of Justice League, and they can have the guy, meanwhile, at the Hall of Justice.
You were so pissed that was not in the movie.
They should have that. Meanwhile, at the Legion of Doom.
And the only voiceover you get is from Amy Adams, who I despise as Lois Lane.
She's a little mousy.
She is. She always looks like she's about to cry.
And you know
always. In every movie she's ever been in.
Why can't DC embrace and be like, we're going to be the superhero series that's got nudity in it? And just go for it. And why are they making Diane Lane so frumpy? That gal is hot.
Yeah.
Stop making Martha Kent so frumpy.
She's supposed to be the mom. She's
Who
like
cares?
an old
Why did you
mom.
say Martha?
Mom's gonna be sexy.
Fucking Martha.
I like Diane Lane too, but she's getting older. She's playing the mother character.
She's still super sexy.
Nobody says Ma Kent is super sexy.
They could be.
Ma.
That's why I'm saying it's
They
time
haven't seen
to
her
embrace
topless.
it.
That's why.
That also is a problem. They should not have killed Pa Kent off in Man of Steel. That should have been a resounding voice that follows, like, up until, like, through this movie. Like, this could have been the movie where you killed him. And then all of a sudden, like,
And
there's a
that's
bigger
how you
thing.
bring back Superman, is you put his dad's heart inside of
You
him?
trade one for the other. I mean, make a deal with the devil.
Let's make our own movie.
But when it boils down to it, I think the only thing that they've got going is Wonder Woman. I really enjoy Gal Gadot.
Yeah, she's nice to look at.
But I also think, like, she's interesting, right?
Yeah.
I just feel like some of the I see, and I wonder how much we can give away. I hope we're not giving away too many spoilers and stuff. I guess we're just talking about the movie in general. There's like little funny quips they threw in where they feel so natural in the Marvel universe, but in the DC universe it feels forced. Like there's a scene towards the end where everybody's being a little funny, and Wonder Woman says, "Children, I'm working with children," and it just seemed like forced.
My man.
Natural in the forest. Yeah.
Let me
the broisms of Aquaman.
Let me break down a scene for you. There's a part where Wonder Woman is sitting in front of the computers in the Batcave, and Cyborg from a remote access kind of takes it over and blanks out the screen.
Ghost Rider.
It does just text. They did that in fucking War Games in 1983, okay? This is 2017. I think you could do a little bit more than just blank out the screen and put text up like it's going to the C prompt on a computer.
Yeah.
Diana, do you want to play a game?
Yeah.
Let's play thermonuclear warfare. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
That being said, it also really bothers me that they shoot all of the Christopher Nolan Batman movies in Chicago. So you see all these Chicago landmarks, right? So that is Gotham City, but not with this. That's Metropolis. Now, Chicago is the setting for Metropolis. So it's very confusing because I'm like, oh, okay, there's the Ion Center. Oh, wait, no, hold on. This is Metropolis now. It's not Gotham.
New
God
Batman,
damn it,
new
Warner
setup,
Brothers.
though. The new Gotham, I like the look of Gotham.
Yeah, when that movie opened, I was like, this looks gritty and great. But then they CGI'd Batman's cape and they lost me. It's like, done. What? Ben Affleck can't jump himself off of a ledge? Like,
Nope.
no, we'll just animate it.
They actually took a lot of things from the Arkham video games.
Yeah.
And put that into like Batman's movements, and it's like, no, I play a video game to play
A video game. I watch a movie to watch a movie.
But I said after the movie, I liked how they dirtied up Batman.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, his suit always looked dirty and gritty and like he'd been doing shit.
Yeah.
Finally.
And also, what was the deal with him
Batcave is
pouring
that-
that giant drink for himself too? You see that? Like he poured a full glass of like scotch.
Man gets thirsty in that filthy bat cave, right? That dusty bat cave works up a powerful thirst.
Yeah.
Oh God.
How about a movie that we all loved recently, though? Thor Ragnarok.
That was the best.
Have you not seen
I
it
have
yet?
not seen it yet.
What?
I know.
I love that full-on Guardians of the Galaxy humor vibe that Marvel has taken on in that. And, you know, they won't do that with all their movies. You can see,
No.
you know, future stuff. But for this one, it was perfect.
Yeah.
Lots of,
So much fun.
yeah, just the jokes and jabs between like Avengers members and things like that. The whole look.
They did a lot of improv to film the movies. Amazing to me.
So
I
what
find
have
it
you
funny.
been-
I
what
find
have
it
you
funny
been
the
doing?
second one went from DC to Marvel, everyone literally perked up.
Everyone-
yeah, all
everyone-
their faces are a little brighter.
Marvel.
Like,
Look at my nipples.
those could cut glass.
Everyone just perked right up. Ooh, Marvel, yay.
I can't believe you haven't seen it yet. What have you been doing?
Netflix.
What Netflix? Give it because you haven't watched Stranger Things. You
yeah.
watched that?
Oh yeah, we watched Stranger Things. We watched a lot of Hulu. There's a show on there called Chance that we watch.
Chance.
Chance.
It's a gambling show.
No, it's the guy from House. Can't think of his name.
Hugh Laurie.
There you go. Is the main character. He's like a psychotherapist and gets involved
So
with
he's
one of his
playing another
clients and-
doctor.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
But he actually has his normal speaking voice
Oh,
more
so
than
he has his
British.
accent.
Yeah. A little
Does
bit.
he,
Not
doesn't
quite as
have a
bad.
limp? Does he have like a weird arm?
He's a baby arm.
He's missing a toe.
Doll hand sticking out.
Tell me about your childhood, and he's got a little baby arm going. That would wig me out.
So I got a recipe from a friend for a delicious Thanksgiving item called Doritos salad. Would you like the recipe?
Bring it.
So what you do is you get yourself a bag of regular Doritos, a bag of Cool Ranch Doritos, and a bag of any of the other flavors. So you go the habanero, whatever you want. Open all 3 bags, pour them into a bowl, mix them around, discard the bags. Dorito salad.
Well, that's certainly simple.
Cover it with your dressing of choice.
No. You dip into your dressing of choice. Although I feel like someone who dips a Dorito into dressing is a fucking asshole because you're leaving remnants of the Dorito in there.
Right, that powder.
You're
comes
gonna
off
ruin.
easy.
You're gonna
That's a-
taint the rest of the
That's
rest
a
of the
gift
dressing
for you.
No, sir.
Oh, I would put dressing like in a bowl or something to dip.
But it
I'm
comes
not
in
a
its own
Neanderthal.
bowl. Burrito.
Is the Dorito
My-
salad an appetizer, or is that like something that sits on the table as an entree with everything else? Would you just have that sitting out on a random like dining room, like a
Coffee
end table
table.
or something?
I think you could use this as both. I think it'd also be a dessert, a meal ender.
Put it on my plate with a bunch of gravy over the top of it.
Oh my God, gravy's good for everything.
Quick
Sure.
question: Thanksgiving, Lefse, sugar or no sugar?
Both.
I say sugar.
Butter and sugar.
No sugar, dipped in gravy.
Yeah, I do both. During the meal, I have just lefse with butter. That's like my bread that I use to get the rest of the gravy.
Okay.
But then at the end, put a little sugar on it, maybe a little bit of cranberries in it too. A little dessert lefse.
You go
little-
both ways.
Yeah, I
That's
go
what
both.
we hear about.
Do your little lefts to look up at you and say, "Pour some sugar on me"?
Anybody have any families with strong feelings or warring factions about either way? Because we have families members that'll say just butter, and then we have sides that say sugar, butter and sugar.
Yeah.
and they make a big stink out of it.
Yeah, so and according to my grandmother, who is full blood Norwegian, it is a difference between Norwegians and Swedes. Like one does sugar and one does not, and how dare you do the other one when
Right.
you're in my house?
It's passive aggressive in my household because someone volunteers to make the lefse, and they'll, you know how you butter and roll the lefse?
Yep.
They'll pre-sugar it.
Oh.
And so, like, they'll be like, "Yeah, here you go, you fat fucks."
My wife is
And then you
here's in
take
the
one of those-
background.
Yeah, right.
And
Blasphemous.
at their side of the family, with her
Do it the right way.
her grandmother, if you were like sugaring the lefse, she'd say, "You're ruining it." She'd tell you you're ruining it.
Slapping your
What happened
hands.
to freedom of choice, man?
But the whole plate is sugared at your house.
Right? Oh, they do. They pre-sugar them. They pre-roll them and sugar them. Some have brown sugar. Some have white sugar. You don't know which one you're going to get.
That is the most passive-aggressive Norwegian thing possible.
It's just, here you go. You're going to have it sugared. Like it or not.
Yep, bitches.
I called the Butterball hotline last year for some tips, and I realized I was like,
Tits?
that's some tits. Some turkey
You're like, do you have any turkey breasts?
Yeah. And I realized that might be my dream job.
To talk to people about making turkey?
Yeah. Especially because I feel I'm best in a crisis.
No, sure.
And so, like, when you call the Butterball hotline, you are in crisis.
Yeah,
You're in panic mode.
You're like
my
Peppermint-
house is on fire. What do
Peppermint
I
Patty.
do?
Peppermint
Well, go
Patty
grab
would
the
call
turkey,
the hotline.
yeah.
Peppermint Patty would call the hotline
Yes.
and be like, all that they have are pretzels and buttered toast and jelly beans. It's crazy. And then the hotline's like, there's nothing I can do to help you. I'm sorry.
My host.
Actually, the hotline would go, wah, 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 wah.
But at least they're serving on a ping pong table.
I would like, and maybe there is a Reddit online that Jenny-O Turkey Hotline employees have written stories of things that they've been called. Because I imagine that there are some great stories there.
Like turkey bitch.
Yeah.
You know, you Thanksgiving whore.
Okay. Now I feel like you're just being mean now.
But here's the thing. I also think that they probably get mean responses from some people, but for most people, they're like, "Oh God, can I marry you? You're so soothing. You're like my mother." What?
Why did? Yeah. Okay. Mother
So-
and married.
It's about time that we have coats. Everyone's wearing coats.
At least the Butterball hotline makes sense. Like you're calling it for a specific reason on a specific day. I don't get when you see products that will have numbers on them. Like, if you have any comments about our product, feel free to call our hotline. Like, why would you ever just be eating Oreo cookies or Puddin' Pops or whatever, and then I'm going to call them up and tell them how much I'm enjoying this?
What kind of life do you lead where you're eating Oreo cookies and pudding pops?
Well,
that's...
I see you eating that. I wouldn't be surprised to see you sitting and eating Oreo cookies and Puddin' Pops.
Don't think I've ever had a pudding pop.
Really?
No.
It's too bad because it's a delicious treat. Put it in your mouth to see you smiling like this.
You get a black ring on your lips.
It's the delicious flavor with the roofie in the middle.
Oh.
No, you've never had a Puddin' Pop?
No. I don't even know what it looks like or what it is.
It's like a fudgicle. Fudgesicle.
A fudgicle.
Right.
I love it when kids say "oh fudge,"
Just
because
say it.
to me it's like you're swearing. You know, it's just using a different word for the same inflection.
Have we cursed on the podcast yet? Why not throw
Oh
it
yeah,
in
I've
there?
had a lot. I've had quite a few.
I think it was my second word out of my mouth today.
Welcome to the fucking podcast, everybody.
Welcome to the fucking show.
Let's make sure
This
this,
is
one
for
gets a full
adults.
R rating.
When I was young, I wasn't even allowed to say the word fart. So
Yeah, you had to say snicker.
yeah, a snicker or tooted.
You tooted.
Break wind. No fart.
There was no swearing in your household, was there?
Not
growing
back
up?
then.
Yeah.
No. Now my parents they just threw all those rules out the window.
Yeah.
It's like
I
a
remember-
party there all the time.
I remember being young and saying the word crap and really, catching hell for
Oh
it.
yeah, no way.
And then when our son was young, for all he tried to just freely throw F-bombs around, and we put an end to that pretty quick. What? I could say that. I'm not like 8. It's like, I know, but we don't talk
This
like
is
that.
our
No, my house.
Right. So you shut your fucking mouth.
I don't know where you picked up that goddamn language.
Oh, parenting 101.
Yeah.
If I had a kid, or I should say when I have a kid, because eventually it'll happen, hopefully. But I've gotten hit in the balls a lot, so there's some question there. But when I have a
To be
kid,
honest, you're kneed in the balls a lot.
when I have a kid, my kid, I grew up in a house that had no rules. There's no curfew. I was allowed to run amok, and because I had all that freedom, I ended up becoming rather prudish. So I found myself being like, well, I will be home by 10 o'clock. That's the time I've set for myself. I didn't drink until I was 21.
What a sissy
So
boy.
my kids are going to have rules, though, because I don't want them to even think that they can pull some of the shenanigans that I saw in movies and television shows.
having kick-ass risky business parties.
Yeah. Risky business. See, do we want? Do I want my kids to have a risky business party? Because partially it shows a lot of entrepreneurialism.
You're organizing it and
And then having all those hookers
All the
there,
hookers.
taking a percentage. You know, I mean, you gotta hand it to Joel. Like that was a really smart
I'm
thing
mad
for
at
him to
you
do.
and you're grounded, but also
Yeah.
Props.
But also, do you know the tax consequences of what you did this weekend? No, I want a party more like a weird science party.
yeah, like where there's a big MX missile in the middle of your living room.
With a bra on your head.
Yeah.
With your grandparents catatonic in a closet.
So it was did she kill them?
Oh no, I'm
Were they
sure
dead?
Oh, don't when they show everything go back to normal. No, I guess they don't show the parents coming out of the closet, do they?
I always assumed she killed the grandparents.
No. Just for going around hitting everybody with his Rex Harrison hat?
Yeah.
No, she wouldn't have killed him. Do they look like they're happy being catatonic in a closet? God damn it! That's my Bill Paxton.
It's a
Everybody.
good
it
one.
was really
Rest in
good.
peace. Rest in peace.
I had
Let's
a,
all be thankful for Bill Paxton.
We can't be thankful for Bill Paxton. He's dead.
No, that he
be
existed on
thankful
the
for
planet.
what he
did.
left
He gave us so
behind.
many
There you go. See, I like that more than
wonderful memories.
Otherwise, like we're being thankful for a corpse. You know.
God,
it's like-
thank you for taking Bill Paxton. Amen.
Hey,
Although
real
Charles
quick,
Manson's about
who do you
ready to
think-
go.
Who do you think is the next celebrity who's going to be accused of sexual misconduct?
Throw a dart at a board. I think,
Yeah,
at this
I
point.
mean-
they're just,
Right? I'm going to throw this one out there. I think following in the former host's shoes, Drew Carey.
Oh, boy, that would hurt.
Uh-huh.
But that's very possible. You never
Something
know.
in that building, you know, makes you want to harass women.
I was a little floored to hear both Louis C.K. and Al Franken. You know, those took me by surprise.
Anyone else
Could
have any
be-
other guesses?
Could be anyone.
I know, so guess somebody.
Raffi.
He's got a real combo of a Roy Moore thing happening. Think of Raffi's groupies.
Hot potato, hot potato. Gonna goose you, gonna goose you. That was Raffi, wasn't it?
Yeah. Like he had that song from Fern Gully too. Like it's raining like magic. Something something.
Come here, I'm gonna grab you by the pussy. Raffi, no.
No, Raffi, not Raffi. Next thing you know, tell me, Fred Petter. Fred Petter had like a show like on Nickelodeon. He'd carry a guitar and walk through the woods, and then he'd go through like a hollowed out like old tree stump, and then end up in a magical land
Oh,
where there's puppets and
yeah.
junk. And with a name like Fred
I was just going to say with
Petter.
the name Petter.
I saw a little interview thing with the guy who used to be on Blues Clues. What was
Steve.
It? Steve, yeah. Like Steve plays in an alternative band now, and he's
Yeah.
a pretty cool guy. But he talks about how it's kind of hurtful every once in a while. He'll hear rumors that he's dead, and people are like, "Oh yeah, no, the guy played Steve
Yeah,
on
he
Blues
died.
Clues. He died
He
in a
died.
car accident." He says, "Why do people want me to be dead? What did I ever do? You know, you can Google me on the internet. I play in a band. I still do things." He goes, "It
Yeah.
was just time to be done with Blues Clues."
Now he shaved
died.
his head and he wears
I
scarves.
was going to say,
Yeah,
didn't
right.
he go bald? I
Yeah.
thought that was
Well, I
part of the
mean,
reason, too. He wanted
he
to
was
stop
going
being
bald.
Right.
He did a hilarious, like one of those, not TED Talks, but like The Moth or one of those things where he talks about his fame at the time and how weird it was. Like he'd get letters from women sometimes that like were turned on by him. He talks about going on a date with a girl who was a Playboy model and how she like wanted to do a couch dance for him, like sitting in the chair, like the big
The
comfy
big red
red
Big
chair.
chair.
red chair.
And yeah, he said he was not comfortable with the thing at all. And it was pretty much just she wanted to further her fame. And he's like, what could I do for her? I was like on a Nickelodeon show.
I
Steve.
totally banged Steve from Blues Clues, and Bram from Sharon Lois and Bram's Elephant Show, and gave a hand job to Mr. Rogers. I got a real thing. Got a real type.
Andy's in the bathroom.
All right, how are we doing? Is that it? Is that good
Yeah,
time?
I gotta get to brunch.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you guys got a big hot game of D&D brewing too, don't you?
Sure do.
Number 19 in the can. Everybody enjoy their Thanksgiving.
Gobble gobble.
You guys all got places to go?
No,
Yeah, Uncle Bill's.
No.
Go, ain't coming to our place.
I'm gonna try and make a baby.
Okay.
I got a
Well,
new couples game.
happy
I'm gonna
Thanksgiving
yeah,
to
it's,
you.
it's a couples Thanksgiving. We're playing this thing called couples basting.
Well, good
I'm
luck
gonna
with
brag
that.
you.
All right, I'm Scratch Masterson.
Superfan Ozzy.
Babyface Nelson.
And Burrito Supreme.
We're all giving the trigger warning fun time bye-bye wave. Bye-bye.
Toodles.